How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech. Now, we all know the new RTX 3000 series launch was kind of a bit shaky, with there not being a lot of stock, scalpers just buying everything, and also prices being quite high. Now, most of the people won't necessarily go for something like the RTX 3080 or even the 3090. They're more going to look at the value king, the RTX 3070. The 70 range was always the best bang for your buck performance card. And honestly, this here with these cards, there's nothing that changed because these are beasts of cards. So we're gonna take a look at our first card here, which is the Gigabyte Gaming RTX 3070, which is a nice little bit more of a compact card. So we're gonna take a look at this one to see how it performs. Did it crash? No, it didn't. That's a good thing. And then also go over all the temperatures and everything else. So let's get into that. So they are jumping into specs. The 3070 does differ somewhat from the other 3080 and 3090 cards, using GDDR6 memory instead of GDDR6X memory, and does also have a bit fewer CUDA cores at 5888. But will that actually affect the performance? Not really. We'll get into that. The 3070 Gaming OC does have a very similar look to the 3080 from Gigabyte, which we did take a look at before. And I must say, they did fix a few issues that we had on that card design-wise. As you can see, that weird notch indent at the front is gone, as also a bit more of a straight line, more square design. Now for the rest of the design, it does look mostly identical to the other 3080. You still get the RGB Gigabyte logo with the RGB strip on the side. The backplate does flow very nicely with the rest of the card, and it almost looks seamless where it connects to the shroud. It still has the sharp gaming edge design that we saw on the other card as well, with the backplate being more silver, and does also have the cutout at the back for better airflow pass through. And for the front, it does have also a bit more of a black and silver design. So if you're looking for something a bit more clean for your system, again, this card would be a perfect fit for that. Now taking a look at I/O, I am happy to see that instead of a 3 DisplayPort version 1.4, you only get a 2, and then you get a 2 HDMI 2.1 ports. I personally do use HDMI quite a bit still, so having an extra HDMI port is quite nice. And also with the 2.1 ports now, you can support up to 8K at 60 FPS, so it's not going to be a problem at all for higher resolutions. Now then, as for power, you do get a 6 plus 8 pin power connector that with our overclock drew a max of 280 watts. We would of course recommend getting at least a 600 watt power supply, although in games we saw only a peak of 240 watts. So even if you do still have a 550 watt, that will still be fine as well, we believe. Now then, moving on to cooling, Gigabyte still has the exact same fans that we saw on the 3080, which are smartly tuned. So the two outer fans do rotate counterclockwise, while the center fan rotates clockwise. This helps to reduce turbulence and deliver better cooling for the cards. This card does also feature a dual BIOS mode. One is for the OC and the other is for more of a silent mode. As for how the cooling actually performed, it did do quite a decent job, reaching a peak of 73 degrees under full load, with the fans running at 83% or around 2200 RPM. Now our ambient room temperature was quite high, as it's quite summer here, at around 28 degrees. However, the idle temperatures was pretty decent at around 40 degrees. Now looking at our overall clock, we were able to add an extra 140 megahertz to the core and 500 megahertz to our memory for a slight bump in performance. Now do note that we ran most of the games on a stock, as the card again is OC'd already out of the box, and it's a bit more of what most people will use. So we want to keep that as general as possible for the people who might get this card. Now, as for how loud the card gets, this is one of the smaller cards that we have tested so far, with our ambient room noise being around 42 dBs. So under a full load, the card ranged around 56 dBs, which is quite normal considering that it was an open test bench that we tested it in, with the fans also being at 2100 RPM or 84%. At 100% fan speed, there it reached around 62 dBs, more or less the same as the other cards that we tested as well. And honestly, I sat on the couch a few meters away and I couldn't even really hear the fan, so not bad at all. Now then, as for the long-awaited benchmarks, the system that we use does have an i9 9900KF at 5 gigahertz and 64 gigs of memory running at 3000 megahertz. Also, just a side note, if you guys want to see a more side-by-side comparison video, we do have that on one of our other channels. We do a benchmark linked down below. So definitely check that out if you want to see a more gameplay footage and seeing how the cars perform. Now, of course, main question is, how do these 3070 perform? And in all honesty, for the size of this card, it packs a mammoth of a punch, beating the 2080 Super that we had in every game, in every resolution. It's honestly just a all-around king. So possibly it's going to be on par with a 2080 Ti, which is just mind-blowing how powerful this card is. So if you still have a 1080p monitor, this is going to be great for that if you want to reach crazy high FPS on a max settings on everything. We saw around a 500 FPS in a Siege, which is just crazy. So we might need to get 500 Hz monitors later on. But if you're running a 1440p monitor, this is going to handle that without a doubt, running at 144 Hz without any issues. But if you're looking for a card that'll handle 4K games, then you're also not gonna have to worry, because this card handles that without any issues as well. Now, if you want to play the new AAA titles at a 4K on ultra settings, it might start to struggle there a bit, dropping down 60 FPS, but it shouldn't really be a problem for quite a while if you just adjust some of the settings and also depending on the game. So then, just all in all, as you guys could see, we tested it on a 1080p, 4040p and 4K, and the card never struggled at all, beating out the 2080 Super and also just being a bit behind the 3080, which honestly makes this card a perfect for 1440p gaming at 144 Hz and then also a 4K gaming easily. So then, in conclusion, the 3070s are right in the sweet spot, just like all of the other 70 range cards usually do, being the best bang for your buck card that you can honestly get. It's going to be perfect for 1440p gaming. It's going to be able to play 4K no problem. And if you want to play 1080p, you can also do that. Just go get one of those 360 Hz monitors and it shouldn't be a problem. Now, the nice thing again about the Gigabyte Gaming 3070 is because of the more compact design. You still have your 3 fans, but it's a lot smaller than the other card. So if you do have a more ITX style PC and you want to fit a small card that's still going to deliver adequate cooling, then this is definitely going to be a card that you need to take a look at. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my review of the Gigabyte Gaming RTX 3070 OC. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. A big thanks to Gigabyte for sending the card over for review. If you guys want to get it for yourself, I will leave links in the video description once it's available. Hopefully they're in stock. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, comment, and then I will check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.